Live from New Delhi, you're watching DT India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. As part of a peace push to end conflict, US-Ukraine hold talks on mineral deal, while Zelensky calls for work on military deployment. US and Iran to begin critical nuclear talks as Trump threatens war, while Iran ready to give it a genuine chance for diplomacy. In an ongoing counter-terror operation in Jammu and Kashmir's Kishtwar, 2 more terrorists neutralized, toll mounts to 3. US and Ukrainian officials held tense talks on a proposal that would grant the US access to Ukraine's significant mineral wealth, including rare earth minerals like lithium, titanium and zirconium. These minerals are crucial for high-tech products, and Ukraine has deposits of 20 critical raw materials worth several $1 trillion. The US wants access to Ukraine's mineral deposits and require Kyiv to place in a joint investment fund all income from the exploitation of natural resources by Ukrainian state and private firms, though the proposed deal doesn't include US security guarantees for Ukraine's fight against Russia. Meanwhile, President Volodymyr Zelensky calls on allies to make progress on a possible military deployment that could act as a deterrent against future Russian attacks after a halt in fighting.
You know that Ukraine has a shortage of air defense systems. You know that Patriot systems can effectively protect against ballistic threats. You also know that we are forced to move the systems we have around the country to give at least temporary protection to different cities. And you know what happens when even one system goes out of service. It means lost lives. I thank every leader, every country, everyone present here who's working with us on a new format, a format for a guarantee force, the coalition of the willing, a united force that can be part of the future security guarantees for Ukraine and at least our part of Europe after this war.
Iran and the United States will begin crucial talks on Saturday to reach a new nuclear deal in an effort to ease tensions and avert another conflict in West Asia. Iran's negotiating team, led by Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, arrived in Muscat on Saturday for high-level discussions with Donald Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff. Iranian Foreign Minister Araghchi said that his country seeks a fair and honorable deal with the US hours before the start of talks between the two sides. These talks will be the highest-level discussions between the two nations since an international agreement on Iran's nuclear program crumbled in 2018 during Trump's first term in office. Donald Trump has given Iran a 2-month deadline to accept a deal that would lead to Iran shrinking its nuclear footprint or eliminating its program altogether. Trump said ahead of high-stakes weekend talks over the state's nuclear program that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon.
I want them not to have a nuclear weapon. I want Iran to be a wonderful, great, happy country. But they can't have a nuclear weapon. And we're negotiating with them on Saturday. We're the currency of choice. We're always going to be, as long as you have somebody smart. And you know what? If a nation said we're not going to be on the dollar, I would tell you that within about one phone call, they would be back on the dollar. You always have to keep the dollar.
US airstrikes on Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen triggered large-scale protests in Sana'a on Friday as tensions between the United States and the Houthis continue to escalate. Mass protests erupted on Friday in southern Sana'a's 70 Square, where protesters raised the flags of Yemen and Palestine and shouted slogans denouncing the escalated US airstrikes, which have increasingly targeted, in fact, civilian infrastructure. The confrontation between the Houthis and US forces has intensified in recent weeks. American warplanes have bombed several Houthi-controlled locations, including Sana'a. Meanwhile, the U.S. aircraft carrier USS Carl Vinson has arrived in the Red Sea, joining the USS Harry S. Truman, which was already deployed in the region. In response, the Houthis have launched multiple attacks on U.S. naval assets. On Friday, Houthi military spokesman Yahya Sarea said in a statement that the group had carried out new operations targeting hostile forces, including strikes on the USS Harry S. Truman and hitting 2 military sites in the Israeli city of Jaffa with drones. President Donald Trump insisted on Friday that his tariff policy was doing really well despite China hiking levies on U.S. goods to 125% in the spiraling trade war between the world's two biggest economies. Investors dumped U.S. government bonds, the dollar tumbled and stocks seesawed after Beijing's retaliation against Trump deepened concerns on already traumatized global markets. Trump sent financial markets into a tailspin by announcing sweeping import taxes on dozens of trade partners last week, only to abruptly roll them back to 10% on Wednesday for 90 days, while raising levies on goods from China.
I think the markets were solid today. I think people are saying we're in great shape. We're making a lot of money as a country now for the first time in a long time. We were losing billions of dollars a day, and now we're making billions of dollars a day. It's a big difference. And we then brought it down to 10%. And so that made it a little bit less, but I did that because I wanted to be fair to other people, to other countries.
Meanwhile, the White House said later that Trump remained optimistic about a deal with China and added that 15 other countries have offers on the table during his 90-day pause in their tariffs.
I won't reveal or get ahead of our trade team as these negotiations are obviously ongoing, but I can tell you very good progress has been made. Jameson Greer was on television this morning and I spoke to him, and he confirmed that more than 15 offers are already on the table, which is remarkable in just a mere matter of days. And as I said earlier, we've heard from more than 75 countries around the world.
Taiwan officials held their first tariff talks with U.S. officials on Friday, with both sides looking forward to further discussions soon. The two sides exchanged views on a video conference on reciprocal tariffs between Taiwan and the United States, non-tariff barriers to trade, and a number of other economic and trade issues, including export controls. While Taiwan, facing tariffs of 32%, complained they were unfair, it moved quickly to lay out proposals with the United States, offering a zero-tariff regime and greater purchases and investments in the country. On Wednesday, U.S. President Donald Trump said he would temporarily lower the hefty duties he had just imposed on dozens of countries, while further ramping up pressure on China. Taiwan has long sought a free trade deal with the United States, even though the two have no formal diplomatic ties. The United Nations humanitarian body will reduce its staff of about 2,600 people by 20%, its chief said on Friday, citing a wave of brutal cuts, including U.S. funding reductions by Trump administration. The global aid situation has grown dire since President Donald Trump ordered the dismantlement of the U.S. Agency for International Development early this year. Trump administration scrapped 83% of humanitarian programs funded by U.S. aid. The agency had an annual budget of $42.8 billion, representing 42% of total global humanitarian aid. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees, which employed nearly 20,000 people at the end of September, also indicated in March that it expects a significant reduction in its workforce due to the absence of American funding. A day after the U.S. Supreme Court directed Trump administration to facilitate release of man wrongly deported to El Salvador prison, speaking to reporters, President Donald Trump said that he would follow the Supreme Court's ruling. The U.S. Supreme Court directed the Trump administration on Thursday to facilitate the return to the United States of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Salvadoran man who the government has acknowledged was deported in error to El Salvador. A major development in South Korea's presidential race, Seoul Mayor Oh Si-hoon will not run for president according to emerging reports. Se-hoon had been seen as a key contender for the Conservative Party nomination, but he has reportedly dropped out of the race. Meanwhile, South Korean opposition leader Lee Jae-myung declared his bid for the presidency this week, promising to fix inequality and spur economic growth. This comes as South Korea prepares for a June 3rd election to replace impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol, who was ousted last week after the Constitutional Court upheld his impeachment over a controversial declaration of martial law in December last year. Gabonese citizens turned out early on Saturday to vote in a pivotal presidential election just months after a military coup reshaped the nation's leadership. The vote comes 19 months after General Brice Oligui Nguema ousted longtime President Ali Bongo, ending over 50 years of dynastic rule. Nguema, now interim leader of the oil-rich Central African country, is the front-runner in the presidential race and campaigned nationwide under the slogan, "We Build Together." Early voting in Ecuador commenced on Friday as ballot boxes were dispatched to the elderly and people with disabilities, paving the way for the presidential election slated for April 13. Ecuador's Vote from Home initiative facilitated the early voting process for 662 voters above the age of 50 with substantial disabilities. The too close to call runoff vote features 37-year-old Daniel Noboa and 47-year-old River Luisa Gonzalez, who is bidding to become the country's first woman president. The Electoral National Council is set to count all votes post the presidential vote on Sunday. More than 13 million Ecuadorians will vote to choose their leader for the next 4 years on April 13. In a major policy move, Argentina sealed a $20 billion 48-month extended fund facility deal with the International Monetary Fund on Friday and dismantled key parts of its year-long currency control and loosened its grip on the peso. The IMF will disburse $12 billion by next Tuesday, while another $2 billion will become available by June. The deal is expected to help Argentina catalyze additional official multilateral and bilateral support and a timely re-access to international capital markets. Earlier, Argentina's central bank announced it would undo a fixed currency peg from Monday, letting the peso freely fluctuate within a moving band between 1,000 and 1,400 pesos per dollar versus 1,074 at the close on Friday. Argentina will eliminate major parts of the so-called cepo capital controls that have restricted access to foreign currency, the central bank said in a statement. Bolivian Minister of Government Eduardo del Castillo announces that police have detained 3 people accused of being part of an attempted military coup in 2024 in Bolivia and that 2 people are still pending arrest. Castillo added that the investigation has managed to determine that there is a group of 5 people who would have also participated with a vital participation in the failed coup d'etat. Last June, a group of military officers led by the then army commander Juan Jose Zoniga burst into presidential headquarters in La Paz, but hours later he was arrested. Former Brazil President Jair Bolsonaro was stable and without symptoms after being hospitalized in northeast Brazil with abdominal pain on Friday. Bolsonaro halted a political event in Rio Grande do Norte due to pain and was airlifted to a hospital in Natal. The doctors stated that Bolsonaro is hospitalized in stable condition, receiving IV fluids, antibiotics and undergoing further lab tests, adding there was no estimate for when he could be discharged. Strong winds wreaked havoc in Beijing and parts of northern China on Saturday, causing hundreds of flights to be cancelled, attractions to close and rail lines to be suspended. Beijing earlier issued its first orange alert for strong winds in a decade for this weekend. As of Saturday morning, 413 flights at Beijing's capital international airport had been cancelled. Train services, including the airport's express subway line and some high-speed rail lines, have also been suspended. And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. A joint team of security forces gunned down 3 Naxals in Chhattisgarh. Stay tuned for more details. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is on her official visit to Vienna, Austria. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar meets Italy's visiting Deputy Prime Minister in the national capital.
Why is there such an angst over historical characters? The portrayal of India's history.
Our history is still not Bharat's history. The history, which we were taught, which we read, is like the history of, the invaders.
If you try to consistently erase the truth and lie about the truth and consistently spread falsehoods, they were so prejudiced and so hell-bent on pushing their own ideological political agenda.
A historian is first Marxist or first communist, and then he behaves like a historian.
You're watching DD India Live. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj. India's Home Minister Amit Shah today affirmed that both the Union government and the Maharashtra government are committed to developing Raigad Fort, the historic seat of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, as a source of inspiration for the youth of the nation. The Home Minister made the remarks while paying homage and offering floral tributes on the occasion of the 345th death anniversary of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj at Raigad Fort in Maharashtra. Amit Shah said that Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's enduring message was that the fight for Swaraj or self-rule must never cease. He added that today, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the Union government is faithfully following Shivaji Maharaj's vision and working tirelessly to establish India as a beacon of hope for the entire world.
चारों ओर आदिलशाही, मुगलशाही, निजामशाही से घिरा हुआ ये महाराष्ट्र हिंदवी स्वराज में बदल गया और कुछ ही सालों में यहां से अटक से कटक तक, बंगाल तक, दक्षिण में तमिलनाडु तक, गुजरात समेत समग्र देश को स्वराज का स्वप्न सफल होता हुआ दिखाई पड़ा.
Two more terrorists were killed in Operation Chatroo in a snow-bound area of Jammu and Kashmir's Kishtwar district on Saturday. In a major success for security forces, top Jaish-e-Mohammed commander Saifullah has been neutralized along with two other Pakistani terrorists in an ongoing encounter. So far, 3 JEM terrorists have been confirmed dead. Saifullah had been active in the Kishtwar and Doordarshan regions for a long time with a bounty of 500,000 rupees on his head. A large cache of arms and ammunition, including one AK-47 rifle, one M4 American assault rifle and other warlike stores have been recovered from the encounter site.
On 9th of April, joint teams of Indian Army, the Jammu and Kashmir Police and the CRPF was launched in the dense forest of Kishtwar to nab the group of terrorists. In the operation, the troops displayed great tactical acumen and swiftness and ensured zero casualty to on troops.
In India's central state of Chhattisgarh, a joint team of security forces gunned down 3 Naxals in the forest area of Indravati in Bijapur district on Saturday. The bodies of the Naxals have been recovered and a large quantity of ammunition and explosive materials has been seized from the encounter site. The encounter and search operation are ongoing. State Police's Special Task Force and District Reserve Guard jointly conducted the operation based on the intelligence of the presence of Naxals. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar met Italy's visiting Deputy Prime Minister Antonio Tajani in the national capital on Friday. During the meeting, both leaders reviewed bilateral cooperation and its advancement in trade, investment, IMEC, maritime, security, research, technology, education and culture domains. The leaders also exchanged views on contemporary global developments, including in Europe, Mediterranean and West Asia, also pledged to continue partnership to develop and evolve guided by the Joint Strategic Action Plan 2025-29 agreed by the leadership.
Excellency, last year Prime Minister Modi participated in the G7 summit in Puglia and I remember meeting you at the foreign ministers meeting. You were very kind enough to welcome us to Fuji. And we also remember very warmly Prime Minister Meloni's visit during the G20 summit in 2023. Last year, our Prime Ministers agreed on a joint strategic action plan. Our responsibility is to implement that plan, to take it forward, to make sure that the roadmap for the partnership that it has created is fully and exhaustively explored. Your visit gives us that opportunity.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is on her official visit to Vienna, Austria. The visit marks a significant step in strengthening the relationship between India and Austria. During her visit, Nirmala Sitharaman met Beate Minel Reisinger, Minister for European Affairs and Internationalization. The ministers discussed recent developments in India-Austria bilateral relations and underscored commitment to a deeper India-Austria and India-EU relations. Both the leaders explored avenues to deepen cooperation in sectors such as startups, fintech, innovation, artificial intelligence, infrastructure, green technology, renewable energy, eco-friendly urban management solutions, among others. The ministers also discussed global developments of mutual interest. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman addressed the Indian community in Vienna on Friday. The minister acknowledged the strong role of the Indian diaspora in Austria and highlighted the important role Indian entrepreneurs play in India's growth journey. She also underscored the promising opportunities for collaboration between Indian and Austrian businesses, particularly in emerging sectors such as startups, fintech, green technologies and sustainable urban mobility. Further, Sitharaman emphasized the Indian government's ongoing efforts to engage the diaspora in promoting and advancing India's growth story. The National Investigation Agency to continue grilling the 26/11 attack key conspirator Tahawwur Rana. As per reports, Rana is reportedly avoiding most questions on the account of not knowing the answers and not presenting satisfactory responses to the NIA investigation. A special NIA court on Friday sent Tahawwur Hussain Rana, the accused in 26/11 Mumbai attacks, to NIA custody for 18 days and has proceeded with the second day of investigation. He was brought to India from the United States and had arrived in Delhi on Thursday. Rana was first brought before the special NIA court on Thursday evening. Padma Shri awardee and renowned environmentalist Daripalli Ramaiah, widely known as 1GB Ramaiah, passed away after suffering a heart attack. The 88-year-old Green Crusader was undergoing treatment at Khammam Government Hospital in Telangana, where he breathed his last. Meanwhile, PM Modi condoled the demise of India's leading Green Crusader in an ex-post, saying Daripalli Ramaiah Garu will be remembered as a champion of sustainability. He devoted his life to planting and protecting lakhs of trees. His tireless efforts reflected a deep love for nature and care for future generations. His work will keep motivating our youth in the quest to build a greener planet. My thoughts are with his family and admirers in this sad hour. Om Shanti. Let's take a look at other stories making news today. Chief of the Naval Staff of India, Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi, is on an official visit to Tanzania from today till the 16th of this month. With an aim to strengthen maritime cooperation and strategic ties between the two nations, the maiden edition of the large-scale multilateral exercise Africa-India Key Maritime Engagement is scheduled to be jointly inaugurated at Dar es Salaam on 13th of April. Chief of the Army Staff, General Upendra Dwivedi, visited the Indian Army's Vajra course to assess its operational preparedness along the western borders. The Army Chief expressed his satisfaction with the seamless synergy among the Indian Air Force, Border Security Force, Punjab Police and other stakeholders in safeguarding both the border and the hinterland. Wreath-laying ceremony of Indian Army's junior commissioned officer Subedar Kuldeep Chand of 9 Punjab was held on Saturday in Jammu and Kashmir. The officer laid down his life while leading a counter-infiltration operation along the line of control in the Keri Buttle area of Sundarbani on Friday. India's Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting and Parliamentary Affairs, Dr. L. Murugan, attended Tamil Janam News Channel Anniversary program in Chennai. During his address, Union Minister Dr. Murugan stated that OTT platforms have been permitted to operate without restrictions to safeguard creative freedom. The minister also announced plans for a WAVE summit on creativity to be held in Mumbai next month. To push the boundaries of augmented and virtual reality, the XR Creator Hackathon at the World Audiovisual and Entertainment Summit is offering a dynamic platform and pushing boundaries. The hackathon is witnessing participation of developers from across India.
XR Creator Hackathon at the World Audiovisual and Entertainment Summit is an initiative by Wave Labs in collaboration with the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. It will explore the untapped potential of extended reality across sectors like entertainment, tourism, education, healthcare, and e-commerce.
XR stands for Extended Reality. And the XR Creator Hackathon has been organized by Wave Labs in collaboration with the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting.
Over 2,200 participants hailing from every corner of the country participated, and 5 thematic winners were announced. These teams were selected from the final 40 after weeks of mentorship, prototyping, and rigorous evaluation.
The aim of this XR Creator Hackathon is that we wanted that whatever product, whatever project that comes out from this XR Creator Hackathon should directly contribute to the Indian economy, in the development, and in various sectors.
The winners are now gearing up for the grand showcase at Waves 2025 and will present their projects to industry leaders, investors, and global stakeholders. They gain feedback, network with XR leaders, and explore opportunities to take their innovations further.
The XR Creator Hackathon is crafted to unleash the boundless possibilities in extended reality. It aims to propel India to the forefront of immersive innovation and global leadership in XR technology. Shama Mishra, DD India, Mumbai.
That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.